In recent times, a series called The Three-Body Problem, which premiered on Netflix, has managed to capture everyone's attention. The topic of the series, and particularly its starting point, is quite intriguing. In 1976, Chinese scientists initiate a classified military project called the Red Coast Project, and they send a radio signal to the Trisolaris system, located 4 light-years away from our planet, using a massive radio telescope. Years pass since the signal was sent. The only thing the scientists listening to space can hear is the sound of the void. However, one day, an extraordinary development occurs. Scientists unexpectedly receive a radio signal. However, the message they receive horrifies them. This signal is more than just an ordinary message, because it's a warning. The meaning of the message is as follows: do not ever send a message again. Otherwise, you will prepare your own end. Welcome to my channel called The Discovery of Mystery, where we will unveil the curtains of secrets. In this video, I don't intend to analyze the series. Instead, I'll try to comment on the relationship between the intriguing topics within the series and reality, beyond just the series' fiction. So, why is the series' content so intriguing? Let me briefly explain. The series begins with sending signals to space for communication and includes quantum mechanics in its content. It touches upon formulas that science has yet to solve. It touches upon the Fermi Paradox, which expresses the contradiction between the high probability of extraterrestrial life and the lack of evidence to confirm it, as well as chaos theory, which suggests that a small event can lead to larger and more unpredictable events in a chain reaction. In addition to these, details like supercomputers smaller than atoms, artificial intelligence, VR glasses, virtual worlds, and the invasion plan of an alien race traveling to Earth after a signal contribute to making this series intriguing. What I'm actually trying to say is that this beautiful science fiction series harbors many truths within its content, more than we might think. If you're ready, I'll now try to explain what I mean. The Three-Body Problem is Chinese science fiction writer Liu Cixin's first book in a trilogy. Recently, a series adapted from the first book was released on Netflix with the same title. First, let's mention what the three-body problem means. The three-body problem is a fascinating and complex topic in physics. Essentially, it seeks to understand how 3 or more massive bodies move under gravitational interactions. This problem started with Isaac Newton's laws of gravitation and was utilized to explain the motions of planets. However, accurately predicting the motion of 3 bodies is quite challenging because each body in the system is influenced by the others, resulting in constantly changing movement patterns. The reason why this series and the first book are named the Three-Body Problem is because the chaotic situation of an alien race living on a planet with 3 suns is mentioned in the series and first book. As mentioned earlier, in the series, Chinese scientists send a radio signal to the Trisolaris system, which is 4 light-years away from Earth. Actually, this event is not merely a simple fiction. It is inspired by a real event. Scientists have previously sent such a message into space. In 1974, an international group of scientists used the Arecibo telescope in Puerto Rico to send a message to the M13 star cluster, also known as the Hercules cluster. The message was transmitted in the form of a matrix consisting of a series of ones and zeros, and included basic mathematical, chemical, and physical information. The message also included a picture measuring 23 x 73 pixels. The picture contains symbols such as a DNA molecule, a human figure, a model of the solar system, and the shape of the Arecibo telescope. The purpose of sending the message was to demonstrate humanity's technological advancement and intention to communicate with extraterrestrial beings. 3 years after the message was sent, the signal, caught by the Big Air radio telescope belonging to Ohio State University on August 15, 1977, was noticed by Dr. Jerry R. Amen. At the time the signal was captured, the telescope was directed towards the constellation Sagittarius, which is only 4 light-years away from our planet. The signal, arriving on a radio frequency very strongly for 72 seconds, was remarkably attention-grabbing. Following the reception of the signal, Amen and his fellow researchers experienced great excitement, and they wrote the note, "Wow," on a piece of paper containing the details of the signal. In the ensuing years, this signal came to be referred to as the WOW signal. The source and content of the WOW signal could not be conclusively determined. It has always been a mystery whether it is a signal of extraterrestrial origin. Some researchers speculate that it could be a reflection of a signal originating from Earth. Actually, if it had indeed been confirmed that the signal came from extraterrestrial sources and the content of it had been understood, do you think this information would have been shared with us? I strongly doubt it. More than 40 years have passed since this incident. Billions of dollars are spent each year on space exploration. We have made significant technological advancements over the last 50 years. However, since then, our big telescopes have not encountered a signal similar to the WOW signal. There are numerous conspiracy theories surrounding this topic. Perhaps the institutions managing space exploration have managed to discover more than they let on. Maybe the obtained information may be being kept hidden from us. Who knows? Imagine, if somewhere in the depths of space, the existence of an advanced alien race like ours was discovered, what would you do? It would truly be an incredible moment for us, wouldn't it? We've been inhabiting Earth for thousands of years. Somehow, by developing the traits we possess, we managed to become the dominant species on Earth. First, we tried to understand the Earth we live on, and then we attempted to comprehend the universe. Just a few centuries ago, the Vatican was teaching that the Earth was the center of the universe, with the sun revolving around it. Scientists who opposed this notion were punished by Vatican. Later on, we made progress in science and technology. Through the discoveries of prominent scientists and the invention of advanced technological telescopes and satellites, we began to acquire more accurate information about our Earth and the universe. Even though we've only just begun to explore the universe, we've realized just how small we are in this infinite cosmos. After his various research, American astronomer and astrophysicist Frank Drake drew attention to an important point in 1961. According to Drake, if the Milky Way galaxy is large and contains numerous stars, then there should also be Earth-like planets alongside these stars. Some of these planets should have conditions suitable for life, and there might even be intelligent and advanced civilizations similar to ours. Drake formulated an equation following these assumptions. He developed this equation to estimate the probability of extraterrestrial civilizations existing. Even with cautious assumptions, considering there are 400 billion stars in the Milky Way galaxy, we can see that there could be millions of planets suitable for life. Consequently, we might say that the probability of hundreds of thousands of civilizations existing is high too. So, if it's possible for numerous civilizations to exist in the depths of our galaxy, why haven't we been able to communicate with any yet? Why haven't we received any results from our research on this matter? Where are these civilizations? Following these questions, the Fermi Paradox comes to the forefront. The Fermi Paradox is a phenomenon that arose from physicist Enrico Fermi's famous question: if there are intelligent civilizations in the universe, why haven't we found any of them yet? This question reflects a contradictory situation regarding the existence of life and intelligent civilizations in the universe. Over time, scientists and researchers have put forward various hypotheses to solve this contradictory situation. Let's explore some of these hypotheses together. 1. Aliens have always existed and have already visited us. According to this hypothesis, aliens have been visiting our planet for thousands of years. Some believe that mythologies and epics believed by civilizations living in different regions of the world, archaeological findings, and mysterious structures built by past civilizations indicate that aliens may have visited our planet for thousands of years. According to this hypothesis, these visits may still be ongoing today. Perhaps the visiting aliens are simply observing us by hiding themselves. Or high-ranking government officials who have made contact with aliens may be keeping this contact hidden from the public. Who knows? 2. Aliens are distant and prefer not to communicate with us. According to this hypothesis, while we are researching extraterrestrial life and striving to establish communication, they may not care about contacting us. Perhaps aliens prefer to keep themselves hidden in their own region. In addition, the technologies we use for communication may have remained primitive and simplistic compared to theirs. For example, imagine if an ant were trying to communicate with a human. Suppose that an ant attempts to communicate with humans using sand and stones according to its own communication method. How much attention do you think this situation could attract from people? Do you think people could notice such a method? 3. We might not know where to look. Despite listening for signals from space for many years, we still haven't obtained any results. According to this hypothesis, perhaps we need to look in the right region of space or tune our devices to the right frequency in order to establish communication with aliens. Maybe the signals and messages have already reached us, but we don't know how to decipher them. Our communication methods may be extremely primitive compared to theirs. 4. Intelligent civilizations may be disappearing before reaching a sufficient level of development. According to this hypothesis, intelligent civilizations may perishing before reaching a certain level due to various reasons. This could happen for 3 different reasons. Firstly, developing civilizations may suffer severe damage or extinction due to major natural disasters. Secondly, developing civilizations tend to destroy themselves due to their egos and the weapons they develop. They may destroy their own civilizations due to nuclear or biological warfare. Thirdly, very advanced civilizations may restrict or destroy a developing civilization. Our planet may not have experienced such a catastrophe yet. 5. Aliens may be much different than we think. We assume that aliens resemble us and have same goals and objectives with us. According to this hypothesis, this assumption may not be correct. We may not have the imagination to comprehend intelligent life forms that are different from us. Perhaps aliens are not at all as we have imagined. Therefore, we may not have been able to establish contact with them so far. 6. Aliens may not have completed their evolution as required. This hypothesis is called the Great Filter Hypothesis. It suggests that there are challenging stages to pass in the evolution of life, from simple organisms to advanced civilizations like a filter, and many civilizations may not have passed this great filter. According to this, life may have remained at a level where only simple organisms can be found on most planets with suitable conditions. Perhaps only a few civilizations in the universe have been able to pass through this filter. 7. We really are alone in the universe. I think this is the least likely hypothesis to be true. But still, it's not an impossible assumption. Perhaps there are indeed so few extraterrestrial civilizations in the universe that we feel like we are alone in the universe. Unfortunately, we cannot know this for sure at the moment. We can say that all of these assumptions are interesting and thought-provoking. Along with Chinese science fiction writer Liu Cixin's The Three-Body Problem trilogy, a new one has been added to these hypotheses, the dark forest theory. The dark forest theory is seen as a major danger that communicating civilizations in the universe may face. Imagine the universe as a dark forest. Each star system quietly stands with its planets. In this forest, silence is a rule for survival. The more light you emit, the more attention you attract, and the more you put yourself in danger. The dark forest theory explains this universal silence. Communicating civilizations actually put themselves in danger. Perhaps there are more powerful and invasive civilizations in the universe, silently waiting to prey. Therefore, staying silent and preserving the mystery of the dark forest is the safest way to survive. Imagine yourself in a dark forest where there could be many wild animals. Would you like to comfortably light a fire at your location and attract the attention of these wild animals? This would certainly be a very dangerous move. That's why some scientists are concerned about signals sent into space by organizations exploring the universe, such as SETI, and want them to be terminated. One of the world's most famous physicists, Stephen Hawking, warned people about this for years before his death. Let's go back to the Three-Body Problem series. The dangerous situation described in the dark forest theory is also depicted in the series. In the series, an alien race called Santai, on the brink of extinction due to problems on their own planet, detects the signal sent by humans and sets off towards Earth with a massive fleet to save their own future. It will take them approximately 400 years to reach Earth. This time frame is also a threat for the Santai race. Humans show rapid development as the years pass. The Santai race knows that within 400 years, humans may reach a level of advancement surpassing their own. Additionally, human traits such as lying and deceiving disturb the Santai race. Therefore, they begin to manipulate people with their advanced technologies and to make most people worship them. In this way, they aim to hinder the development of humanity. I can say that Liu Cixin has excellently addressed the topic in his book. Of course, the Netflix series adapted from the book is also wonderful in terms of both visuals and immersion. I highly recommend watching it. Now, I want to evaluate the subject from a slightly different perspective. Of course, the three-body problem is a work of science fiction. However, I believe that its fiction has a close relationship with the history of humanity too. If you think my interpretation may not be correct, I recommend listening carefully to the details I will mention shortly. Earlier, I mentioned in the series how the Santai race manipulates humans, how some humans start calling them our masters and worshipping them, aiming to hinder human development. Now let's try to delve a bit into the depths of history and search for evidence of whether similar situations have occurred in the past. In fact, when we delve into the roots of humanity, incredibly interesting details emerge. First, let's take a look at the Abrahamic religions. The creation chapters of the Bible and the Torah mention the existence of periods when past civilizations lived with a sense of unity and spoke a single language. During these times, people want to develop to become like gods and reach the level of gods. Consequently, God notices this situation and punishes the people harshly. God disrupts their unity and divides them into different languages. As I mentioned in my previous video about the Anunnaki, in Sumerian mythology, humans are created to serve the Anunnaki. However, after a while, humans begin to develop and no longer want to serve the Anunnaki. As the relationships between humans and the Anunnaki began to change over time, this situation begins to disturb the god Enlil. Now, let's look at the Maya civilization, which lived in Central America. In the Popol Vuh book, which tells Maya mythology, it is mentioned that the Maya people used a common language to communicate with the gods. It talks about the disappearance of the common language and, for some reason, the end of communication with the gods. Here, too, the reason is that humans began to disturb the gods over time. If we look at the Aztecs, another civilization living in Central America, the Aztecs depict a flood in their epics. Before the flood, people live together and speak a common language. However, because the gods become angry with humans, they punish them with another flood. A man and a woman takes refuge on top of a mountain from the flood. After a while, their children are born. Each of these children learns a different language and establishes a different culture. Here, we also need to pay attention to the symbolic narrative. In fact, it speaks of the disruption of human unity for some reason, the beginning of conflicts, and the diversification of their languages. In the myths of the Aboriginal people living on the Australian continent, we also encounter a similar situation. These myths talk about a time when a single language was spoken, and there was unity within the community. But over time, due to supernatural events, that unity and language could not be preserved. Similarly, in Chinese mythology, it is mentioned that while a single language was spoken, over time, people became corrupted, and their languages began to diverge. Similar information is also found in the sacred texts of the Abrahamic religions. In the Bible, Torah, and Quran, it is narrated that when humans were created to serve God, a single common language was spoken among them. Over time, people start to learn about civilization and science. People who no longer want to live under God's command, perhaps with the desire to establish their own authority or an act of a rebellion in a metaphorical sense, begin to build the Tower of Babel, or in other words, start to sever their connections to the gods. As a result, God sees this human movement as a serious offense and punishes them harshly. Once again, human unity is disrupted, and their languages are divided and diversified. As you can see, similar information is found both in the sacred texts of the Abrahamic religions and in the myths of civilizations from different regions of the world. I particularly tried to give examples from different regions of the world, because I believe that these events we are talking about indeed have a common origin on a global scale. Events are always occurring in similar ways. Humans start to develop, and their development attract attention. In other words, humans, as in Liu Cixin's theory, light a fire that catches attention in the dark forest. God or divine figures are disturbed by this and come to punish humans, trying to halt their development. Human unity disrupts, and they scatter to different parts of the world. These details are indeed very interesting and thought-provoking. Contrary to the information about human history that has been told to us for ages, the discovery of evidence in modern discoveries that advanced civilizations existed in the past, and that some civilizations suddenly appeared and disappeared without leaving any traces, makes these details even more intriguing. A moment ago, I specifically wanted to use the term divine figures. This is because in Sumerian, Egyptian, Indian, Dogon, Aztec, and Maya mythologies, beings with different and powerful technologies are described as coming from the heavens and flying with radiance. People at that time, as they could not fully understand these beings and thought them to be more powerful than them, assigned divine meanings to them and began to worship them. This situation is similar to what happened in the series The Three-Body Problem, in which people began to worship and refer to the Santai race as their masters. In fact, this situation arises from human nature, because humans are inclined to assign divine meanings to events and beings they cannot fully understand or define. This is an expression of the helplessness inherent in human nature. At this point, I want to take the topic one step further and ask you a few questions to think about. But first, let's revisit the Holy Scriptures. In the sacred texts of the Abrahamic religions, as I mentioned in my video about the Anunnaki too, there are two different depictions of God. One depicts a God who possesses omnipotent characteristics, demonstrates love and forgiveness towards humans, a description that aligns perfectly with the definition of a divine creator. The other, on the other hand, is a definition of a God with more human-like ambitions. Far from the description of a divine creator, this God threatens to punish humans by inflicting pain for their mistakes. He even claims to have destroyed some communities in the past without waiting for the afterlife, and wants that humans fear his wrath. In every sacred book there is a God who has human aspirations and who warns, "Don't do this again. If you do it, we will burn you in hell. We will come before the day of resurrection and destroy you like the rest of the tribes. Do not repeat the transgressions of those before you, or we will punish you with a severe punishment. If you obey us, you will be rewarded." Could this God be an extraterrestrial being who came to Earth to intervene with them, manipulate them according to their own methods and desires, because humans' development attracted much attention? Then, could this extraterrestrial have interfered with human beliefs and sacred books for its own sake? In other words, if we go back to Liu Cixin's theory of the dark forest, could mankind have been manipulated or destroyed by a more powerful civilization in the past because of the burning of a striking fire in the dark forest? In the sacred texts, there is often a portrayal of a loving, forgiving, and truly omnipotent God. Yet suddenly, just a few chapters later, this beautiful God transforms into a being threatening destruction, punishment, and damnation. Then, could the reason for this sudden change be the intervention of an extraterrestrial who wants to manipulate humans in the Holy Scriptures? At this point, I'll leave the interpretation up to you. Whatever the answer to these questions, I think there's a fact that attracts our curiosity. From the earliest civilization to the present day, we always look at the face of the sky and attribute sacred meanings to it. It's like we're shaping our goals with our inner impulses, trying to uncover the secrets of the sky and the universe behind it. It's like it's programmed into our genes. It's like we belong there. Thank you for watching the video. If you enjoyed the content, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and stay tuned. You can support my channel by liking the videos and leaving comments. Until we meet again.